Today I will be attempting my second craft using DOS air dry clay, and I am pleased to say that these gnomes turned out so easy and cute to make. You can definitely make these even with kids. And happy Christmas in July, everybody. I'm super excited. I have lots of fun Christmas videos planned for this month, so stay tuned for many more videos in the future. But for this one, I just took 2 big chunks of clay and I'm going to be turning them into nice long cones, and I decided to make 2 gnomes just so one could have a little buddy so they weren't alone. So squishing these 2 pieces together nice so it makes one nice tight ball, I then started rolling it back and forth in my hands and also using the table to get that nice cone shape. And you don't even need any fancy clay tools. I just use a butter knife that I get from the kitchen, and I just cut off that little round end so that my gnome will be able to stand anywhere I want to put him as a decoration. And also, just for a fun little touch, I am going to make the hats kind of wiggly, just so it looks a little bit more whimsical. I thought that would be a cute little thing to do. Next, I just carved out a little area that's going to be for his nose and his beard. So taking my butter knife, I just did kind of like this little rainbow shape, and then I'm going to carve out all that in the middle. And again, the butter knife works great. I know that there's some clay tools somewhere, but I'm not really sure, and I didn't really want to go hunting for them, so the butter knife was perfect for me. After carving everything away, I just took another chunk of clay and I'm going to be making a coil. So a coil is whenever you just take a piece of clay and you roll it back and forth in your hands to make a long snake. And this clay was a little bit dried out, and all you have to do if this happens is add some water and squish it together to re-moisten it, and I really had 0 problems getting it to work. So once it was nice and wet, I just rolled it back and forth, making that nice long coil, and this is going to be for his little edge of his hat. So his hat's nice and long and droopy. It goes over his sides of his face. And once I got it to be long enough, I just trimmed it to size. This next step is really important in order to attach the pieces. It's called scoring. All you have to do is take your clay tool, or in this case my butter knife, and scratch up all the areas where you want to attach something. And I'm also going to do it with the little edge of the hat. That's what's going to stick to it. So I always tell my students at school it's kind of like making a zipper. You want it to be a nice tight fit. So scratching up both things just allows them to kind of squish in together. Now this step to me is like one of the most important ones. You then have to take what you're attaching and slightly squish it down to the other piece. This is what my students always forget to do. They just think that pieces will magically stick together, but no, you actually have to then attach them. So just going around the entire outside of the edge, and I also did it on the inside to make it nice and secure. This way things stick really well. Now sometimes people also use slip, kind of like a glue, to attach the pieces. I just watered mine down really well with my water, and it worked just fine. I didn't feel the need to make slip for my air dry clay. Now recently, since watching other people use air dry clay in videos, I've seen that people like to smooth things out with a paintbrush, and I've never tried this before, and I thought it worked out really well. So I'm just wetting the paintbrush down and smoothing out any obvious bumps and cracks. Now this is going to be a hat, so I didn't worry about it being perfect, and I really liked how it helped smooth out all the pieces. I then took a little ball and made a nose. I scored where I wanted to attach it, both sides. I added a little bit of water to make it nice and wet, and then I just went around and attached the 2 pieces to the hat and also to where his beard is going to be. After getting everything nice and stuck, I then used my knife just to make a little bit of texture because he's going to have a nice big beard. He's going to be an old little gnome. And I'm now just wiggling the hat to make it look really cute and whimsical. And here is how they were both looking so far. Really cute, a nice little pair. After letting them dry for a couple days, here's how they look, nice and white. And I did notice some more wrinkles after they dried, so this is something else I've seen people do. Taking some sandpaper and smoothing out any obvious wrinkles, cracks, wiggles, anything that I just don't like. But again, this is going to be a hat, so I'm not worried about perfection. And now we're to the fun part of the project, the painting portion, and I'm actually going to be using this little Nordic Christmas tree as inspiration. I've had this tree for a little while, and I thought this was just the perfect idea for their hats, but I'm kind of reversing the colors. This gnome is going to have a red hat with white details, and the other one's going to have a white hat with red details, just so they kind of have this mixed matched, set going on. I also painted their noses this little skin color, and after finishing that up, it was time for the beard. And he is an old, wise little gnome, so he's going to have not just a white beard, but some gray, dark gray, light gray, to add some shadow and to just show his wise old age. For the white details, I drew inspiration from the little Nordic tree, but I did not copy it exactly. So right here in the center, I decided to do a nice large snowflake. I also added some other details like little stitches around the top and the bottom. I also noticed hearts being really common in Nordic design, so I did some hearts, some polka dots, and Christmas trees. Did that all the way around the back, and here is the finished little gnome. I think it's very cute. I just kept with the pattern right there above his little nose, and I think it's super precious. For the white gnome, I did a lot of the same details, I just did them in a different order. So in the center, I decided to do a Christmas tree instead of a snowflake. I added some hearts on either side, and I also did a solid stripe around the top and bottom of the hat with a little snowflake right up in the center with a few little polka dots going around the top border. And after finishing all these details, I did that all the way around just like it did on the other one. And again, super cute and simple. Something you can totally do with kids. I think it's a fun craft project for any age. And I just think they turned out so cute. If you absolutely love Christmas crafting all year long, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.